Well, good afternoon. I am Dr. Contrast, and we are live with the Dream Labs. I hope everybody is doing well. I just thought I'd give you a real heads up here today, and I'm really excited about the fact that today is Wednesday, and I remembered how to put things together here. Last week I missed this day, and I made up a session on Monday, and sure enough, here we are again today with another different subject matter, and I thought we'd have a little fun with this one today. I spent some time since Monday's stream wrapping that one up to get that squared away. To develop maybe some B-2 bomber studies. I've always been fascinated with that aircraft. There's just something about it that is extremely intriguing, mystifying at the same time. So what I ventured to do here Monday afternoon, Monday evening in my office was to just do some little ballpoint pen sketches to get some character down, maybe for some future reference. Hey, Ryan Render, how are you? Made it all change back my username. How you doing, Ryan? Made it. That's really funny. That's really funny. Sam03, Sam CC03. I thought, who was that guy? So very good, Ryan. It's great to have you on board here. And when I'm all done today, I'll make sure to give you a jingle after I clean some things up in the office. I'll definitely call you, and I'm very sorry I missed your calls yesterday. Had a busy afternoon and evening to take care of doing some office work. So not a problem. Good to have you on board. I hope you're doing well. So thank you for joining us. So back to the subject matter. I just, I've always enjoyed aircraft conceptual design work. I've done a lot of work with Star Citizen and doing some development work for both aircraft, bombers, fighters, etc. And I thought, well, I'll go back and look at this. Hey, Antares, how are you? Good to have you on board too, man. So good. I remember today is Wednesday and not Tuesday, and boy, so far so good. The memory is working real well. So anyhow, back to the subject matter. I've always been amazed at this B-2 process because when you look at that thing and the architecture of it, my first question has always been, how in the world does it fly? Secondly, beautiful surface work as well. Beautiful in the sense that it's so subtle and so non-dramatic, but it is dramatic in plan, form, the overall shape. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I think the thing that's really interesting to me is how very, very subtle and extremely mysterious the surfaces are. So I thought we'd give it a shot here today, a little bit of an illustration study on the final B-2. And before I did that, I went through a couple of thumbnail studies based on maybe revising the wing structure. The wing structure of the B-2 is extremely expansive. I think it's almost just about 50 yards. Probably about 45 yards in span in plan view, which is massive. And I thought, well, maybe we can get by with a shorter wingspan here and go more of a tighter aero stability process and see what takes place. So these sketches are based on that. And it's kind of bringing down the shape, simplifying the forms, but yet still keeping it very stealthy. But what you'll find, too, as we go through the process today in illustration, how really subtle and soft, they're almost mysterious. There are no gaps, there are no hard edges. It's all very fluid other than the wing structure itself. So I'm going to put these sketches together, did a couple of plan views, just kind of abbreviating the wing form here, and getting into more of what I refer to as almost like a diamond dart. And, pardon me here, trying to really follow the fact that getting into the fuselage area, especially in areas like this, almost like a teardrop form in the middle of the form, and coming off of the shape with getting the engine nacelles down on the wing surface, as opposed to the blisters on the B-2. So they started with again some interesting surface work here, trying to change the rear tail study here, there, and more direct here, and all four little thumbnail sketches, trying to revise some of the forms we're seeing in here. But nonetheless, there was sketch one. Let's put these guys side by side. So I went from that page to develop another series of little overall perspective sketches about what these guys might look like. Let's see if we can get these guys overlap all right. Maybe not. Let's do this. The second page was getting into more of a almost diamond dart. It's almost a triangular form, and getting into again integrating the nacelle for the engine. But again, notice trying to take advantage of that very teardrop upper fuselage area, and then come back into a much more massive wing platform. Because the original B-2, this thing extends, and it's quite a long span. So interesting form there. Again, this one here, same process, getting a little more dramatic, almost shark-like. We're coming off the top of that blister down to the body form, and then the nacelle releases. This guy would indicate the nacelles are not up on top, but underneath the body form. So just look again. I just took some time early in the week, just looking at some concept work to take care of, and say, oh, it would be interesting. We tried to do some things a little bit unique with that shape. So at some point in time in the future, I'm going to come back to these sketches and maybe attack them from a point of view being more of a lightweight interdiction tactical fighter, because they have more of that character to them, I think, more so than a bomber. A bomber, the scale isn't quite there yet, but the character of that guy could almost be like a second generation F-117. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But after all is said and done, put those sketches together, and I thought, let's go back to the traditional thinking here. So I came back and for time's sake, roughed out this guy to begin with here. A combination of curvatures and shape. Yeah, thanks very much, Antares. It was an interesting study, I think worthwhile taking here. But this guy, I came back after Monday evening doing those concept studies. I thought, let's go back to the typical B2 and see if we can kind of generate some interesting shapes here. So forgive me for starting here and getting one body form in, like this big guy here. It's going to give me some idea of what the flavor of the sketches are going to be. And sketches going to be rather. I'm adding some little detail here, and it's wingman underneath. So I'm going to I'll start to put together the final variation on this lower piece here, kind of match it and put a little bit of atmosphere in the actual overall illustration. So bear with me here as we get started. Start to stain this thing in. Again, notice what really is what catches you off guard right away is that there's so many. It's almost the same continuous shape. There's very little subtle changes in terms of where you can actually take advantage of sharp breaks or surface changes or color changes. And especially now it's all that metallic military flat gray black. It's just really a difficult shape to get a hold of. You only change the interface for some of the curtain areas around the actual engine nacelles. A little bit of a darker shape, but still it's not. There's nothing in here. It just rolls off of that form and into these nacelles and down into the plan of the wing. So I had to take my time to really kind of get those things put together here. So here we go. Let's just kind of stain this thing. I'll move this thing just a bit to get it started. Come back in and just stain it, the whole thing in with one good common color here for me and start to detail the daylights out of this thing as we go. Get this back in here. And saturate this guy first and come back in and pick up some of the surface work once it dries. It blends into the paper, into the canopy area. Again, all the same overall body color, which again makes it difficult because boy, you've got to really be steady as you go here. Up into the upper, go a little bit lighter through here. A little bit of a highlight in there, that little bit of less stain in here, kind of give it a little bit of shape break. And again, down in this area here, again, a little lighter where the brake is. Come back in again around the cockpit area and get this all stained in. And we're off to the races. Letting some of the paper come through to develop the shape itself. Pardon me as I move the paper around here to get a good angle on putting these edges in. Turn it again here. Get this long run. You notice when I'm working with this marker, what's interesting about this whole thing, I'm going to come back in and show you. Maybe I'll do a stream on this someday, like a lesson plan. Notice to get the thing, to get the surface, a marker sometimes can leave streaks and very linear looking. But let me go back and show you. When I go through that process again, watch my hands. I go out, I stain it away, then come back in and weave that shape, turn the marker over, and weave right back into that form. You get a nice solid shape to it, so it all blends nicely. Same thing again here. Just going to get this edge in place. Get that edge to touch that corner. Get all this to work. Now notice that coming out and weaving back in. Coming out and weaving back in. I'm going to just do this. And just kind of fill in the blanks. Go ahead and rotate this over. Just going to smooth that in. And again, pardon me, come back in and blend. So it becomes one continuous, nice blended surface. All right, so there she is. A little bit of shadow on this side. Again, down below, on this side. A little bit tone to it. And let's do this, come back in, maybe about a number 4 gray, just to kind of bring in, get rid of some of that highlight in here. We'll come back and just soften that just a bit. There we go. That's better. All right, now, there we are. Basic shape in place. Let's kind of do this. Let's go a little more detail work on this thing now. Let's go back in and get this guy to really kind of sing for us here. Come back and get this canopy squared away. That's in. Get a little bit of that horizon line to come back into this. Okay, super. Enjoy starting to sketch with a marker. It feels, yeah, it just needs, it's like chiseling. It really is. That's right, Ryan. It's really cool how you can kind of let that process chisel it out of the form itself and let it work. Okay, let's see. Basically overall where we are there with this thing. Let's get this rudder to fit in nicely. Let's rotate this guy so I can come back on this beauty just to kind of get an all nice line here. Kind of straighten it up. There she is. There she goes. Okay. Let's get the sponders out here. Back to this. Get that one warning light up here. Get that one little press it up on top. Change that just a bit. Get that other piece in here. A lot of definition work now. I'm just kind of tuning in some of the shapes and surfaces. What do you think there, guys? Coming along all right? I really enjoy starting. Okay, I have to try that approach and laying down the marker. Yeah, I think that's a neat approach. You're talking about that blending flavor here? Pardon me, let me smooth this down just a bit here. Here we go. Smooth this camera up a bit. That'll help just a little bit. Let's get that little more distance on this thing. And how's that? Is that better? Kind of adjust the camera here. We get this lined up. It's hopefully a little bit better. All right, that gives me more room to work with. There you go. There she is coming in on top here. So now we've got that coming in. Just gonna blend this highlight in just a little stronger. And again up on top of this one. A little stronger. And again up on top, just a little stronger. Let it blend out of that highlight. There it is. Same with this guy. It's coming in over the top. Got that all squared away. Now, let's take a look more just for a moment. Put this down. Also lost a cap on this thing, I think. Oh, there it is. Good. Let me close this thing off just a bit. And we'll shut this thing down to get the 4 operation here. Come back to number 6 and get this nacelle area all lined up here for us. That'll help to define this guy a little bit more. Squared away, there it is. Let's come back and do a little bit more staining on this. These flaps. Get a little more contrast, just a bit. That's better. A little bit more tone. Here it is. It's real subtle. I tell them, got the family and forms here. Let's see if we can put those guys together. What do you think, guys? So far, reading all right? Let's get this all in place. Get that little thing in place. Same with this and this. All right, there she is. Come back in here with just a little bit of this. Let's go back and get some pencil work in this guy now. A little more detail. More detail up front there. Let's get that highlight to come through the glass just a little more strongly here, right off that windscreen. There we go. That's a little stronger. Up on top, there she is. Coupler and the forms here. What do you think? Coming along there, guys? I mean, it's kind of a bold approach to some of the illustration work here, but nonetheless, this guy's got a little bit lighter. It's more direct light, so we're kind of safe in that respect. Just kind of go back in here and just get some of these shapes put in here, just for what it's worth. Here she is. Let's get this down. Let's get that guy down. And again, a little bit of a sleeve in here. All right, there she is, coming together pretty nicely here. She's nice and simple. And there she is. What do you think there? Hey, Caleb Goblin, how are you? Good to see you. Lord, where are you coming in from? Caleb? Cool. Caleb Goblin. Is this the one and only Caleb that I know? I think it's great. If you're coming on board, super. Let me know where you're coming in from. It's terrific. So there she is. Let's go a little bit more highlight up on top. Let's do this. Let's take that number 4 gray. See if we can bring this thing down just a bit so it's not as strong. Just a touch. Kind of get up more of the aperture if we get up on the tupper here. That's better. Just kind of cleans it up just a bit more. There we are. So that's that. We got that all coming together here. Let's get a bit of the highlight across the top of this nacelle here. There she is. So I'm going to come back and get a little bit of highlight across here. And again through here. And outside. And back to this inside. And again here. And then the outside. A bit of highlight here. And there. And there. And there. And again here. A lot of drawing definition going back into this thing. I've always felt too that, let's put this back in space here. I always felt too that coming back in with this thing has always been really interesting because it always comes down to putting the media down. I'm going to go back just for a moment, review here where we are. This whole process comes down to a very simple thing like this. Just that it's interesting that it always comes down to, it's 100% formula. 50% paper, 25% medium, and 25% sketch. Now most of this is all filled in, but again, because of the nature of the shapes and the surfaces, it's kind of you have to go in there and really tighten these guys down to give it that kind of definition. So that's the rationale behind going to a full system here. It's a bit of a different animal, but nonetheless, I'm going to go with it. Oh, Antares, yeah, the B2 is dying and scattered the majority of radar waves. Yep, this is it. Yeah, beast. Hearing, yeah. Just hearing, seeing, and hearing it, JD. Yeah, that whole surface work is done as a protective shield against any radar information. It just bounces right off of it, and I think that's what makes it mysterious. And I think the span of it, and the shapes, and it being so subtle, almost magical, maybe magnify that as well. So it's a very interesting set of circumstances. Hey, it is Caleb from Pennsylvania. Sorry that you don't see me around more often. I'm not in line. Hey, that's great though, Caleb. It's good to have you on board. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. So, let me sharpen the stick here for a bit. Add on some more detail. Get this kitty rolling. Put one there. Get one in here. And again, outboard side here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just got a bit of definition in here too. Real subtle. And again, right there. Let's get this thing to run up too. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, that definition line on the inside. So I think we're getting pretty close to where this thing's kind of wrapping itself up. And I think it's kind of neat and clean to date here. It's going to be dropping off some of these surfaces around the nacelle, so it's not as powerful. I'm going to drop the highlight just a bit. There she is right there. So that's it. The basic system of getting all the, I missed one little detail in here. Just got to get this guy, put a little warning lamp. There it is. That's basically where the actual forms are here. Let me got to organize this thing. So now I'm going to put some atmosphere in this thing to kind of take it away from being such a very dark, ominous looking form and shapes, etc. Before I do that, though, I'm going to one more pass here. I think this number 6 gray to get that separation down here, a little bolder. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It separates that nacelle. Wait a minute. So there she is. So that's coming down the line here, guys, with just a very simple set of little theme studies and the like. But I thought we'd actually add a little bit of character to this thing now. There we are. So let's get this guy back on screen here just for a moment. Now, before I go any further, any questions at all, gang, about the definition of working with this thing, how to work with it? One more pass. Where's that number 4 gray? Let's get this down just a touch more. Yeah, let's see if we can get that. If that doesn't work, we'll try a little bit of 5 here. There it is. Yeah, it's better. Not as bold. There she is. That helps a little bit. So it kind of subdues it a little bit more. It takes it all nice and there. There she is. Any commentary about anybody? Tara, it's cool to see the multiple approaches to highlights. You can either fill it in lightly or first and darken around or highlight. Yeah, I think there's a lot of trade-offs too in Terrace and surfaces like this. And again, I'm a big proponent of that 50-25-25, but in this case, this subject matter doesn't really merit getting that open space because there's so many subtle shapes in the plan form and in the elevation of this form. And the color choice is just so ominous looking. You had to fill it all in to make it look like it was believable. Now, you can do a pencil sketch of this, be very dramatic with it, but when you can do an illustration like this, I think it's always fair to give it kind of a nice common round out of what the shapes are actually doing. Let me just do this here. Let's get this definition back inside this upper here. That's better. More shape definition. There she is. That's better. Just little subtle things like that make a huge difference. So that's it right there. So let's try something here, give it a little bit of character, and let's mix up something here. A little bit of sky tone in this thing. Keep it nice and subtle. Combination of things here to come. Just kind of model in some very unique. Keep it simple. And you can't reflect anything. That's the thing about the shapes. You can't reflect that color back into it because, again, it's such a very flat system to work with. Sometimes the local color is such a strong part of the design identity that it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it really doesn't. So let's do this. A little bit of cloud pattern in here. Use the edge of this to kind of get some kind of a little crescendo. That's about enough, I think. I don't want to muddy it up here too much in terms of too much color. So let's keep it that generic. I think might be good enough. If anything else, let's just do a little of this, little bit of handcrafted work in here, and give a little more punch to it. Out of the way here for a moment. Clean my hands up just a bit. All right. Let's clean this up just a touch. Well, what do you think, gang? That's about it right there. Let me just kind of clean this up just a bit. Get this all set up here. Maybe just one little touch here, right back in through here. And there she is. What do you think, guys? That's gets her home right about there. Anybody, any commentary at all so far? It was. I only wish there was more time. It was too short. Only a few sets. Yeah. Awesome from Doc in person. Must have been awesome to learn from Doc. Putting the shapes and angles of B2 in perspective as Caleb is definitely one of the biggest skills he taught my class back in the day. Yes, great point. And Terrace, great point. Sometimes the color, okay, Caleb, putting the shapes and angles of the B2 in perspective like that is no small feat. Definitely one of the biggest skills that you can taught my class. Now, that's very kind of you, Caleb, but you're a good man to work with, no question about that. So there she is in final. I think that's going to be enough here. Interesting. And I can teach you something new every day for your whole life. Wow, thank you very much, Caleb. It's very kind of you. But you know, don't just discount the fact that you worked hard and did some great work when we were together here from an instructional point of view. I always respected that, really dearly respected that. So what do you think, gang? You think that's enough cover to kind of put it all together? I'm going to get too busy. I'm going to let the aircraft become the center of attention here and not destroy the fact with a lot of other vanilla that just doesn't really work here. So let me stop there for a moment. Man, if I can get this camera lined up, how's that? Let's do that. That's better. Okay. Anybody? Any comment there? No? Thank you very much, Terrace, and your work is as well. Magnificent. It's just been fun to put it all together here. Just there's something about aircraft illustration. I think it was Ryan had asked me the other day about, do I have any favorites? I really don't have any favorites. I think all of them are unique unto themselves. It's a matter of how you handle certain things and what the process is like. I've never shied away from any of the challenges that any one of them might bring. So it's just been really good from that point of view. I've always enjoyed it. Different disciplines. Really works well. Let's do this. Come back in here just for a moment and I just pick something up here that I just wanted to see. Where was it here? A bit of a highlight. Oh yeah, right there, there. Okay, got it. And a bit just in here. And again, one more strong line right here. Bolder, thinner. There you go. So, let me line it in space here. Again, I think really worthwhile putting together a program. A lot of drawing back into the system, which I think is really great. The medium will only do so much work for you. But the real test of the characters, to get the sketch rendering skills back into it and kind of illustrate what the thing is all about. Drawing to me is extremely important, whether it's in the final process or the initial process. Not a question. Ryan Render, Caleb, you do study. Yeah, I think, yeah. Caleb, I'll let you answer that one, Ryan. I'm glad you're still on board, Ryan. Good to have you on board here today. Outstanding. Yeah, class of 18, and you were the class of 18. So outstanding, Ryan and Caleb. Great to have you guys on board today. Let me just wrap up here. Any questions you might have on this illustration? It's pretty straightforward linear work, but not a lot of really what I refer to imagination or drama to it, but the drama is in the form itself. And again, and recapping it, a very difficult surface to deal with because it's very subtle, magical. It's all very flat. So in the appearance, because of the anti-reflective material they put on the machine itself, so it gets a little bit on the touchy side, but I think we're just keeping it that light and generic. Really did a good job of keeping it all together. So a lot of fun to work with here. Let's do this and we'll wrap it all up. And there she is. I'm guilty. There it is right there, guys. Good to have you on board today. This is fun. And for those of you next week, next Wednesday, I'm going to change gears again, change a little bit of subject matter so we can kind of have some fun with this thing. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll put together a pretty good agenda for us to deal with. We should connect. Yeah, you should get with Caleb, Ryan. That's a good comment to make there. He's a very good kid. He's got some interest in information in the background he's worked with. So we kind of need to deal with him and chat with him about what we're after here. So anybody, any closing commentary before we kind of wrap it all up and put together this week's presentation? You find him there? I think he is. I think he is in the Discord. So, good stuff, gang. Anything, Terrace, any commentary in closing here? Just want to make sure everything's kind of, all the dots are done and all everything's been spelled out clearly for today's operation. So, anybody? But no, but I can join the Discord. Yeah, it's great. In Factory 2, Ryan, I think I've got Caleb's information I can pass along as well. So I'll let you guys take care of that, and hopefully we'll get a chance to work with you and see some results here down the line. Don't forget, Ryan, I'll call you as soon as we're trying to wrap up the thing here today. One more time, anybody, Caleb, Doc, and Terrace, awesome demo. Yeah, thanks very much, and Terrace, good stuff. I think we're gonna, I'm gonna ask one question before I wrap it up here today. You three individuals on board today, do you think it'd be worthwhile to put together a stream just on marker technique? How to chisel it, how to weave it, how to go back and forth, use point, the broad nib, the point nib. There's a lot of detail work in that marker work that gives you smooth surface work, that keeps you away from being linear. Is that something that you might want to look at for a future stream? Just taking basic forms and developing that weaving process we talked about earlier. Notice every one of these sketches, there's a lot of flooding in there, a lot of marker being put down, but it's very smooth. Yeah, thanks very much, Doc. Much appreciated. What do you think, guys? Do you think that little technique piece on marker application would be a good one to kind of spend some time on a stream with? Super. Marker technique, deep dive. Yeah, okay, you're in. I'll put together a program based on that, just using simple shapes from rounds to shears to show how that all operates, how that chiseling system works, and above all else, how the real mysterious thing about getting a good clean surface work and marker work is using a weaving process, and I'll show how that's done. So, once again, gang, hope you have a great day and a terrific week. Thanks so much for joining me again today. It's just been, so great to have you on board. And again, look at my website, drcontrast.com. Any questions you might have, for example, feel free to drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. Happy to help you all I can here. And the last but not least, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, never, ever fail to remember to dare to be great, because you are. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. And I promise I'll be on Wednesday, not on Tuesday, the one I missed. Take care. Have a great week. Thank you. Bye-bye.